All right, you guys, welcome to the Way Too Clutch podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Crawford. Always bring you everything faith, family, fitness, and finances. But today we have a really good interview. I want to make it a point to where we do way more interviews in 2024 and 25 to close out the year strong. But today is going to be a very special one, right? We have somebody special in-house today, right? She is a natural bodybuilder. She also is the co-owner of a spin studio, which we're at right now, which is pretty cool. I've been in here a couple of times. It looks really, really dope. Serial entrepreneur. She's a health and wellness coach as well. And she's not just a natural bodybuilder, but she is the reigning two-time Miss Wellness International Natural Bodybuilding Champion, coming off of another win this year. We have Miss Gabriele Pacheco in the studio today. How you doing, Gabriele?
I'm good. Thank you for that. It was like top tier intro. I appreciate that.
You know, I just be off the dome with it. So today we are going to do things a little bit different. So whenever you want to talk, you can just look over there. I'm going to look over here, and we're going to give the audience something really, really good today.
Okay.
But how we're going to do this today is like this. I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask you.
Oh boy.
Some of them have to do with bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Some of them don't. Some of them have to do with your personal life, because we do share a lot of similarities and a lot of stories in the past year or so of our own friendship. And so we're going to get a chance to learn about, your personal life a little bit. I know you hate it, but we're going to learn a little bit about your personal life today as well. But for the first time, and maybe the only time, I'm going to allow you to ask questions.
I'm so excited.
Because the typical podcast for me with this whole setup is like, it's usually just me talking.
Right.
But I think what I want to do is start to get into the mind of other people, but then allow them to ask me questions as well.
Right.
Now, we didn't pre-screen these questions with each other.
At all. So I'm a little nervous.
So I have no idea what either one of us are about to ask, but I'm just going to start. Okay. But just tell people a little bit about where you're from. Where are you from? We're in California right now, but where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm excited to be here, first of all, but I'm originally from Chicago. I moved to the West Coast in 2018, so I wanted to leave Chicago. It just was never the environment I wanted to be in long term. So I left 2018. I actually ended up in Vegas for 3 years. I did a lateral move at my corporate job at the time. And then, COVID happened. I ended up getting laid off. And it was just a perfect transition to get out of Vegas to come out here. So I've been out here now for almost 4 years. But I'm originally from Chicago, born and raised. That is hometown.
Okay. What weather is better, Chicago or California?
I love California weather, but I'm not going to lie, I do like the cold. Like, I went home this past week, and it was like nostalgia. Like, it actually snowed. It was like 15 degrees. I could see my breath.
Pass.
But it was
hard pass.
But it was good. I mean, I do love California weather, don't get me wrong.
I'm from Wisconsin.
I know, yeah.
We down the street.
Yeah.
California all day.
Yeah.
I like being naked, so that's, no clothes.
The hoochie daddy shorts is all you, for sure.
Okay, next question. What do you do for a living?
So I work full time. I work in supply chain and logistics. I manage multi-million-dollar inventories in 2 different states in the central U.S. as well as on the East Coast. And then I also am co-owner of Energy Cycling, a fitness studio here in Upland, California. And then I'm also a health coach online and in person. So.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question. What got you into spin?
That's a good question. So when I lived in Vegas, I actually was really wanting to get into fitness. I mean, I've always played sports growing up, but I wanted to start losing weight, the whole tightening and toning thing. I just felt like I wanted to look better. And so I actually started taking a hot Pilates class. It's actually called Inferno out in Vegas. And so I took that class at that studio, and then I took a spin class, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. Just the different type of fitness, the energy, the movement, the dancing in the dark, you're riding to your favorite songs. It just felt different. It didn't feel like working out. And so I fell in love with it. It was like I would go sometimes twice a day, 3 times a day, and it just kind of spiraled from there.
All right. So I kind of came into the picture where you kind of got into bodybuilding. So, can you tell us the story
Unexpectedly.
about how you
Yeah.
got into bodybuilding?
So I was never expecting to be in bodybuilding. I've had friends that have done it over the years. I have, seen shows, but I was very ignorant to the sport. But I got into it by posting a picture after a boxing class online. And Steven actually responded to the picture. He's like, you're maybe like 6 to 7 weeks out. You should consider maybe doing a show. And I was like, don't really know too much about it. He sent me the schedule. He's like, think about it. And if it's something that you want to do, like, let's chat. So, I thought about it and I was like, why not? I was already feeling like I really wanted to push my body to the next level and, get really good results. And I literally fell in love with the sport. And little does Steven know, I was actually in the process of looking for something. I really missed the competition aspect of things. Like I said, I played sports growing up, but I wanted to get into something more. And so just the whole structure of competing, the prep life, the grind, it was something that I absolutely loved, and it kind of just took off from there.
And when she says Steven, she means me. So.
Right. Right.
Some people just call me Clutch.
Yeah,
Steven, who was that?
Oh yeah, Steven, always Steven.
No, when I did see you though, to be honest, I think I was in mode of bodybuilding. And I was like, you look like you was at that time. I don't know what you were doing. I don't know if you were preparing for something, but you were pretty lean, and I think your legs from cycling kind of just like it just was like I think you can actually go do this and be very, very successful with it. And we only did like an 8-week prep, I think.
The first one was
6 or 8 weeks.
It was really fast.
Turned pro for immediately. Then we went to test the waters a little bit, kind of like the same thing we did the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Test the waters, the World Cup.
Right.
Then we went and it was a roller coaster of emotions getting to the stage the first year.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding itself presents challenges.
A lot.
But what for you has been the hardest part with bodybuilding?
The hardest part has been looking at it now in the off season. I would say the impact that it's had on my relationships. I would say my friendships, personal relationships. A lot of people only see the show day. They only see the bikini, they only see the makeup, the jewelry, all of those things. But a lot of people don't see I can't go because I have to cook, or I'm grocery shopping, or I need to get my extra round of cardio in. And a lot of that kind of bled into my relationships. And I think that's probably the hardest part, is it affects the people closest to you.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people who I watch on social media, when they do it, it's just kind of like they have to have these very specific moments of like sitting their family down and like let them know like, hey, look, it's not personal,
right?
But it's only the best,
right?
And I'll always tell people like, if you want to be the best, like if you're the best at anything, if you look at the people who are the best basketball players in the world, like they're almost alienated, like because they have to become
it's like a whole different world.
You go away for a while, and it's like I can't be distracted by a relationship or kids or whatever, and it becomes a very, very difficult thing. So speaking of relationships, how's your current love life?
My current love life, right now, it's not how I want it to be. And I think it just kind of goes back to, your previous question. I'm coming off of, being full on prep and those things impacting a relationship that very near and dear to me. But right now it's just me and, doing the work that I need to do, and then also trying to figure out how to balance the two. So it's just me for now.
Balancing the two. So is it desirable for you right now to maybe, because one thing that I do know, and I'll tell everybody this, if you do a show the first year, you're going to have a lot of different perspectives. One is you're going to have a better relationship with your body, because everybody goes through, do a show.
Oh my goodness.
Show, and then, oh shoot, you're telling me I got to gain 10, 15 pounds.
I think that was the hardest for me last year.
So you got to go through loving your body at different phases. But then you also have to go through this thing of of prioritizing what's important. Like, is it time for me to work on a relationship, or is it time for me not?
Yeah.
And for you, these past 2 years have been a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And so where would you currently say, like, you're a two-time champion, Spin Studio is open.
Mm-hmm.
So where is your focus right now?
Next year, my focus is to do less.
To do less.
To do less. I think the last 2 years has been like grind mode. Let's go. What can we achieve? And then, it's like when you achieve something, it's like, what can I achieve next? And I kind of almost gotten addicted to that from the shows and having a very successful first year in bodybuilding and then turning around and doing it again. It does become a little addicting. So I think next year it's like, I want to do less. I want to focus on being just take a step back. I really do want to cultivate having a relationship, being a girlfriend, building, myself up to become a wife at some point. So that's really my focus. And it's hard to do that because I am very driven, but I think at some point you do have to balance the two. And I'm in a place where that is becoming more of a priority than chasing the accolades. And, granted, yeah, success is amazing, but I want to be able to share life with someone. So that's where I'm at.
Now, the first year that you won, first of all, how was the feeling of, because if people don't understand how bodybuilding works, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the natural bodybuilding space, they have this thing called the Natural Olympia. And it's where not just the best people from America, but I mean, I don't know how many countries was there, but it might have been 20 countries that were represented, France, Brazil, all these different countries.
Yeah.
So how did it feel when you ended up as the champion your very first year? And they were kind of just like, this is what we're looking for. This is the standard. How did you feel in those moments winning your first one?
I was completely shocked. I mean, I barely made it to the stage. Thankfully I had friends to help me get there. But it was very surreal because that entire year I spent so much time, with insecurities, beating myself up, not even loving my legs. And if you know wellness, legs is the category. And so it was a year of struggling with my confidence, struggling with even getting to the stage, dealing with my personal life that I was trying to suppress and act like everything was okay. But to then make it there and then to realize I am the standard, it was like, wow, it was the boost that I needed because that year was just it was just terrible. It was hard.
Yeah, now you say you barely made it to the stage.
Barely made it to the stage.
Okay. So, why was that?
I would say that year I was really going through a separation with someone that it just consumed my everyday. It was something that I felt, mistakes that were made that went on longer than it should have. And, when you put your heart into something, I feel like I allowed things to consume me way more than it should have and let it break me down and just become my entire focus. And so, I doubted myself. It was all about, proving myself to somebody else when at the end of it, it was really about proving a lot to myself.
Okay. So, it leads you right into my next question.
I bet it is.
I need to start doing this more often. What was the hardest part about going through a breakup?
The hardest part, I would say, there's so many relationships around it that end.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, like there's so many relationships that end. Like I built genuine friendships that I had to also end because of that. And, you try to compartmentalize, you try to, keep it separate. But at the end of the day, you can't. And I think that was probably the hardest. And then it's like finding your new groove, I think that's probably the hardest. It's like you envision certain things being with this individual and then coming to that realization that, no, that wasn't the best decision, and having to kind of just accept and grieve that.
What helped you get through all of that at that point in time? Because we know, first of all, bodybuilding itself without issues
Yeah.
is rough. It's
Right.
a mental challenge. But what do you think was the thing that helped you get through in that moment or those moments?
My tribe. Legit my tribe. Had I not had the friends that I had in my circle, had I not, gotten closer, you and I have built, a good relationship over the last couple of years. And had I not had the team, to help uplift me on that time, I don't know if I would have been able to. I spent a lot of time in solitude. I did a lot of journaling, but had I not had shoulders to lean on, I don't know if I would have been able to.
Yeah, and reminiscing on that time,
Yeah.
it was interesting too because myself, it could have been one of those, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, another relationship,
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
but I am thankfully I stand on my own 2 feet, so
Right. Yeah.
because I mean, it's no secret that I was going through a crazy time in my life at the same time,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and I think even though it was like a lot for everybody,
For
I
sure.
do think having people around to kind of like not necessarily coddle you,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of like push you like, no, you actually probably need to
Yeah.
be better or go
Mm-hmm.
do better and choose better. So
Oh, yeah.
now we're on the other side of it.
Right.
So
Right.
what would you tell yourself? This is gonna be a crazy question, right?
Mm.
What advice would you give yourself if you can go back to the day you met your ex?
The day I could go
If
back.
you can go back to the day you met him.
That's such a funny question. Oh my goodness, this is gonna sound so honest. I would have I would have probably went back to the terminal.
Mm, like walked away.
Not walked away, I don't think being rude, but at least saying like, I don't like not being in denial,
Okay, the red flags, ignoring.
Yeah, like not being in denial, not trying to make the red yellow, and making the yellow green.
A lot of women do that.
Yeah.
A lot of women ignore they date what they call dating potential.
Right.
And so if you were
Yeah.
to go back and revisit that, you would say that wasn't something that you would try again.
No, not at all. I think that in certain moments in time, sometimes you meet somebody based off of that moment in time. I was in a transition from coming to Vegas, wanting to get to California. And I think I almost looked at that as a segue and versus it just leaving it as that, trying to make it more than that.
Okay. Um, so we kind of identified that whatever went on in your previous relationship,
Yeah.
you probably, in your opinion, you probably shouldn't have been in it anyways.
Right. Yeah.
With that being said, though, what are some things that you think you can personally take accountability for in your past relationships failing?
I would say I let my professional life bleed into my personal life. I am in charge in so many different areas of my life that I don't know and I haven't turned that off with my partner. And I told you this a few days ago, like I'm working on being softer and being more feminine and not so masculine. And I think that's something that I have struggled with of being in leadership roles that I feel like I can lead my relationship when I honestly don't want to, but I have not been able to practice it. Maybe because not only did I have the understanding of it, but I just don't feel like I also had the proper partner to practice it either. Because I feel like to do that, there's a level of safety that needs to take place, and I didn't feel that. And so I think now in hindsight, I can say, okay, I know where it comes from. Let me make some changes in this area so now it just doesn't bleed and carry over.
Okay. Now I have a few more questions here. Now I
Mm-hmm.
do want to keep in mind for you that in a second the questions are going to kind of shift a little bit.
Okay.
There's a lot of future questions.
Okay.
But if you did have any interjections for questions for me, feel free. But right now, this is all about you.
Okay.
But the next question that I did have, what is your biggest area for growth when it comes to business and relationships? So one or the other. That's two different questions.
My biggest area of improvement for business?
Business first, yes. What is your biggest area of improvement?
I think being more of a student, especially being an entrepreneur. I think I have to be more of a student. I think I need to just learn more about people skills, interpersonal skills. I would say that's my first one. And as far as personal, really being, I know women are probably not going to like this word, but submissive.
Well, why would women not like that? Do they understand?
Because it makes people, I think it makes women feel like they are under someone.
Okay.
When in reality, if you are with the proper person, and what I have learned, you are supporting and uplifting their purpose in life. And that's more of a helpmate versus being under somebody. And I think if people shift their mindset on what the word submission actually means, you're being a helpmate. And I think that's probably my biggest area of opportunity in a personal life.
Yeah, I think people kind of look at it as like the technical battle term of like giving up.
Right.
Or giving in.
Right. And it's not.
And one of the things that I've done in the year of 2024, which I'm glad I've done, is the husband training.
Oh my God, that which is going to bring me to my question. Yeah.
So I did a lot of the husband training, and inside of it, what I did notice is that women will shy away from that because they feel like it makes them less than.
Right.
And I think it's important for submissiveness to come from, no, I have a job as a wife. I've decided, Steven's decided I'm going to be a husband.
Right.
There are certain things that I have to do.
Yeah.
I have to be willing to die for my family and die for my wife. That's what God wanted for me to do.
Right.
There's no.
But I don't think that's very valid, but I don't think not all, a lot of women nowadays, between social media, between the news, between whatever they're getting this information from, they don't believe in the duties. They believe in this equality,
Right.
where it's not that. The man is the head. If you're his wife, you are to be his support and his helpmate, and you have your wifely duties. They're separate. You guys are not equal partners. But I think that in a traditional, whatever you deem traditional, women will say, I don't want to do that, or no, we're not doing that because I work, I do this, I do that. And that's great. However, if you are a wife, you still have wifely duties. Again, depending on what you believe on.
Now, that's a conversation, to be honest, that people probably should have more about what are the duties of being a wife and being a husband. My duties are different.
Right.
I can't walk around like, oh no, I don't need a wife because you don't know how to change a tire.
Right.
Or you don't know how to, there's day-to-day responsibilities for husbands and wives. But I feel like if you tell a woman that she's not supposed to do something and she has to do something else, it's kind of like, they kind of look at you like, oh no, I can do everything. I say it. I say it till I'm blue in the face. That's why I don't like Beyonce.
Yeah.
Beyonce ushered in the independent. But you want to know what I see now? So many women, kind of like yourself, I don't want to be a strong, independent woman anymore. Yeah. You want to know why? It's because the nature is catching up.
No, for sure.
It's like, I don't know what y'all was feeding us, but I don't want that because, I have a 50-50 question on here. But it's like, if I'm doing my 50%, it don't look like your 50%.
Right, exactly.
Equally yoked does not mean we do the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And the woman, no, I'm not getting, the man need to do this, a man need to do that.
Right.
And I think the conversation needs to shift to, well, as a wife, so you're in the mindset of wanting to be a girlfriend and a wife. What do you think that your responsibilities are as a wife? Because this is where I think people go wrong. I think people are only focused on what they can get, what they want. I want a boyfriend. I want a girlfriend. I want a wife. I want a husband. It's like, no, at what point are you going to say, I want to be? And this is where I shifted my mind this year.
Yeah.
Like, no, I want to be
of service. Yeah.
I want to be a husband. And I want to be a husband more than I want to just have a wife. Because if I'm carrying myself like a husband, I'm going to find a wife.
Right.
Which, hey, turn up. But
we seen her.
It's lit. But I think that only happens because I have chosen to do the things that a husband is supposed to do, regardless if I like them or not.
Right.
Do I like all the things that God tells me I have to do? No, I'm not.
But the thing is, you're doing it before you actually become him.
So that's the question.
Yeah.
What are you on that journey?
Yes.
What are the things that
Yeah.
what are the things that you're doing?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of reading, a lot of solitude, a lot of podcast reading, a lot of reflections. And I think going back and asking individuals that maybe I did date, like, hey, what were my strong points? What were some things that I didn't do great? Because I think you do have to have that feedback, because how you might think you are being experienced may not necessarily be the reality. So I think it's important to ask people that have experienced you, whether that be friends, whether that be, an intimate partner, to really give you that live feedback. And so for me, I am really reading a lot. Right now I'm reading this book called Love and Marriage, of what does it really mean to be a wife? And it's about being her before you actually become her. And I think a lot of women don't fully understand that. They think, oh, well, when I get the ring, then I'll do this. Or, oh, when I, get the house, then I'll do this. But it's, what are you doing now? How are you preparing yourself now? And one of the things that I'm really working on is being slow to speak and quick to listen, quick to understand and slower to react. Because I think a lot of that, especially as a wife, you never know what your husband is going through, what he might walk back through that door with on his shoulders. And what would I be as a wife to jump down his throat? He says something that I don't like and it has nothing to do with me. So those are the things that I'm practicing, of being a lot more self-aware, because I think having higher levels of self-awareness can create so much more harmony in relationships. And that's something that I want to do individually before I actually become her. I know I am her, but I got to do the work first. So.
Okay, so with that being said, do you feel like as you are today, if you found somebody, do you feel like you would be ready?
I would be ready, but I wouldn't be perfect.
No, we're never perfect. So with you being ready, what would you feel like a man would get when he finds you? What kind of woman are they getting?
Peace and fun, happiness, whatever you want to work on, whatever your duties are, whatever your passion is. I want to be of support, of service. If you know me, I like taking care of people. I like serving. I like nurturing, catering. That is what they would get.
Yeah, I always say I think you're going to be a fantastic wife because of the servitude that you just naturally do. I think just like most women, though, it's like controlling the emotion-led conversation or feelings.
Yeah.
It's difficult because it's nature. Women are
right. Because you said something today, poised, being more poised. So that would be something that I know I would continue to work on, is being more poised. Because again, I can be in my feelings, let's just be honest. I can be in my emotions, but I think having more poise of how I articulate those, I think would be, great.
I learned this from my coach in college. He used to always say something to me, and I never understood what he meant. He used to always say, "Be quick, but don't hurry." And I never understood like what he meant by that, but he kind of felt like I was always in a rush. And he's like, you have to have a certain level of poise, like you're going somewhere,
right?
But like be quick about it, but don't be in a rush, don't hurry. And so when we're talking about poise, it's like feel the emotion.
Right.
I think it's important to feel the emotion.
Yeah.
Be able to articulate it without it being almost like a finger pointing contest. And I mean, to be personal, I had a conversation with my kid's mom a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And the conversation started off emotionally driven. And one of the things that I know in the past that I would have done, it would have been a yelling match. And it's like a pissing contest.
Yeah.
Who's right, who's wrong.
Right, yeah.
And then you ultimately realize that never solves anything.
It doesn't.
What I approach it is like calm. I'm just going to talk to you calm. I'm not going to yell.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I don't raise my voice. I don't yell, and I will not curse.
Yeah, it's important. These are things that I feel like, because you can my objective is to always bring a conversation back to peace. Quiet. I hear you. Like, whatever it is you feel like is the problem is great. And your feelings are valid. And by the end of the conversation, she ended up apologizing.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I'm like, yeah, I've never want to like attack you or feel or whatever, however you're feeling.
Yeah.
But the conversation started off with, I'm like, as a woman, I understand
Right.
you can't always lead with your emotion and expect
Right.
the best outcome from a man.
Right.
Right.
Right. And I think that you say a good point, because I think there has to at least be one person in the relationship that's willing to go into it emotionless or with poise, right? Because if both don't have the control, then that's when it kind of just, spirals out of control. But I think if more people take that on, again, one person or both, I think then that's where more successful relationships thrive.
And I think it is a very dangerous point though. If you are a woman and you put that on the man, most men who are like emotionally responsible, they're good. Like they won't lash out, they'll take it, whatever. But also when a man is picking his wife, he's picking from the ones that can control it, a little bit more. So I definitely think that one person for sure has to have it, but then there has to be that awareness, like from the other partner, especially at the beginning. There has to be that awareness of like, what is harmony going to look like for us? What is peace going to look like? Are you reactive to everything? And I even talked to my mom about this. I'm like, you respond emotionally first.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't walk back from that. Sometimes, and this is what I tell my kids, women. I don't know if they realize your words hurt more than anything else that you can do.
Yeah,
Even
for
if
sure.
you like, I don't know, you're cheating around or whatever, like that stuff hurts.
Absolutely.
I don't think nothing hurts more than a woman like almost belittling you.
For sure.
Or whatever.
The emasculation part.
Ego.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like and some women know that they're good at it.
Yep.
And
it's like a secret weapon that women, like, they know when to pull it out. Yeah. And it's not healthy.
It's not, because I think we can have so many healthy relationships if people learn effective communication.
Yeah.
So where would you rate your level of communication today versus last year?
Today, I still need work. I would say today I'd say it's 6.5, 7. Last year, I probably say maybe like 4. I was very,
like
very
reactive, or just like, you're just not in, you just can't get clear thoughts, or you just didn't care about.
Very reactive.
Okay.
Like very reactive, very emotionally driven, quick to snap. And I think it was just a lot of built up frustration and anger and resentment, situations that did not have anything to do with each other. And it was just a lot of reaction, a lot of stress, and there's no excuse for it. But I mean, that's the truth, that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna share something that I shared with I don't know who I was talking to, but it was, I get a lot of questions in my DMs, a lot of questions, and I do think, especially over the last few years, me really honing in on effective communication has been like a game changer. And I asked a question to this young lady. I said, "Are you communicating to win? Or are you communicating to understand?"
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when and it might not apply to you anymore, but it might have been history's past, or maybe even last year.
For sure.
It's like, no, I'm communicating so that you understand me.
Yeah, dominating the conversation.
Yep, exactly. And so when I was talking to my kids' mom, I'm like, look, both of us probably feel a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
In our minds, we're both right.
Right.
But we need to communicate, because what matters most is not who's right or who's wrong. It's how you make somebody else feel.
For sure.
And if I care about you and you're like, oh, what you say, because we've had this conversation before many a times, like I'll be like, what? You feel like I did what?
Yeah.
And then it's not like,
yes, because there's been plenty of times I've come at you sideways. Plenty of times. And it was, versus attacking the problem, it was attacking you. It was like, Stephen intentionally was saying this to hurt my feelings, or Stephen was and it had nothing to do with, no, Stephen's not doing anything. This is the problem, or maybe this is a situation that happened. Let's address this versus attacking the person.
Yeah. And I think people just dig more holes
for sure.
Like, no,
for sure.
We can talk about anything
Yeah.
without me getting my like feelings hurt or emotions involved. Because if I make you feel some kind of way and I value you as a person,
Right.
my job is to make sure that regardless if I'm right or if I'm wrong, my job is to make sure that you don't feel like that anymore.
Yeah.
And especially in relationships, it's like I made you feel like this, like dang, like this is what I meant.
Yeah.
I think I heard something on a podcast the other day. It's like, there's a better question to ask. It's like, what did you hear? Like, what did you hear me say?
Yeah.
So instead of me telling you what I
That's
said,
good. Yeah.
what did you hear me say? So
Yeah.
so we can clear this up and I
Right.
can tell you like, oh shoot, like that's not. If I said it like that, y'all know what we can do more in 2025.
Yeah.
Apologize.
Man.
We can apologize
And forgive.
and forgive.
Yeah.
You want to know? So that is going to take me on a whole tangent. But
So true.
But the thing that I think unlocked the next level of version of myself was complete and utter forgiveness.
Yes.
For things that not the easy stuff, like not the stuff that I know I did wrong.
Yeah.
But for the things that probably had nothing to do with me. How can I forgive somebody who did me wrong?
Right.
How can I forgive
or embarrassed you?
All of that, especially embarrassing. That's women deal with that a lot.
Yeah.
How can you forgive somebody who embarrassed you in front of the world?
Right.
How can you? No, hell no, hell no.
Yeah.
But true freedom. And this is something I've learned. The more I go to church and the more I read the Bible, true freedom comes from complete forgiveness. And they also talk about how they give you this playbook on how to get into heaven. And they're like having total forgiveness in your heart for everybody who did you wrong.
Yeah.
Even for the people who you like, there's no way that I could ever forgive you for what you did for me. It's like you're holding yourself back from prosperity. You're holding yourself back from true enlightenment. You might even be holding yourself back from finding the person that, I used to wonder how do people walk around, they're happy all the time.
All the time.
Like, no, I got a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I realized that was because I was allowing people to steal my joy by me holding grudges on them, and they walking around free.
Yep.
They walking around just fine. And the day I heard that in church, it was like total forgiveness is your key to freedom.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of the ugly things that you don't want to forgive people for.
Right. My therapist actually told me, let them. Like that whole let them theory has been so freeing for me. Like, even though they did X, Y, and Z, let them. And like when I started saying, like when things happen throughout my day to day or my relationships, it's like, dang, that sucks. But let them. Let it be. Just let it go. And that's something that's been really helpful for me, in that conversation with her, because it really isn't about the other person. It really is for you.
Yeah, I think, because I'm your friend on IG, but I'm in the close friends.
Right.
So I be seeing stuff and I be like, Gabrielle, just let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you want to know what I think? I think it's such a finite, slow process because we're so used to. I find myself all the time now, like it was the judging people, judging things that ain't had nothing to do with me. And you know what I had to start doing until it became a habit. I'm quiet whenever somebody has something to say about somebody else. I'm just quiet.
That's good.
I don't want to gossip.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I think that's bad juju, bad energy.
Yeah, but more people need to do that. People need to shut down the gossip. It's just not productive. I feel like more people should do that.
Yeah, but I think whenever you get so attached to energy and you really realize like when you're giving it to so many people.
Yes.
You give so much of your energy. You wonder why you ain't got it to give to your significant other or to your kids or to the things that you want to do. It's because you're giving it to people who probably ain't thinking about you. Probably are like, half the time they don't even know you exist. With this phone, it's dangerous.
So dangerous.
You've been unjust 30 people in an hour, and
I see like the back when, life made sense, like in the 80s and the 90s, when you would go outside and you only had the house phone and you had a beeper, you didn't have no social media, you had AOL. People probably don't even know what that is. Man, I really miss those days because it's like you could wake up, open your phone, and it's just your entire day is ruined. And now you're arguing with your spouse or your friend or your mom or whoever it is based off of a device that really holds no significance.
Yeah, I think this has been like the best and the worst that thing that's ever happened to us in our life.
For sure. Yeah.
It's helped many of us. I mean,
it has. Yep.
Shit, we probably wouldn't even be in California if it wasn't for social media, to be honest.
For
I
sure.
came out here because what I saw online,
Yeah.
and I wanted to grow something like that.
Yeah.
But then it's like it can take you down these paths of like, because I've seen it. I've seen it within myself. I've seen it with you. I'd be like, damn, girl, let it go. They ain't got nothing to do with you.
Right.
They got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Like, the more you can not allow that to affect your spirit, the more we can use it for other things.
No, I agree.
So okay, I have 3 questions.
Oh boy.
Here.
Okay.
But I do want to give you a moment if you had any questions that you wanted to ask me.
I do.
I know you have some written down.
I do, but one that came up right when you said it. What makes you ready to be a husband, and how do you know that you're ready?
Perfect. I'm gonna be a bomb husband. You wanna know why? First things first, I made the choice. I made the choice to say, and I think if I look back at who I used to be, like 1 year ago, my life
totally different.
You
totally different. Yeah.
But I think it's because me, and I'm probably just like a lot of other guys, we aimlessly live. Like there's no real rhyme or reason to why we're doing what we're doing. We haven't decided that we're going to be just a boyfriend or just some people have screw buddies, and some people are just like having fun. Yeah. And some people are intentionally dating because they want a family and they want to be a husband.
For sure.
Most men don't know what bucket they're putting their energy into. I was that. I just was like just around the world dating anybody who I wanted to, because I can get any girl I wanted to, and I'm ruining people's lives and all of this stuff. And I think the day that my last relationship ended, I mean, you were there. I was tore up.
Wow.
I was broke.
So different. I'm telling you, it was so hard seeing you like that.
It was rough because I couldn't even I tell people I cried for 3 months straight, every day, once a day, and couldn't figure out why. And then I remember I watched this video, and this video talked about the 5, masculine or the 5 biblical characteristics of a husband. Yeah. And I only was searching for how to be a better partner. Yeah. And so I started to deep dive on YouTube, and the only thing that kept popping up was biblical husband. And I'm like, why is this? It's all. I don't necessarily think that I want to take this path. Like I don't want to be spiritual, and this is me at that time. Yeah. But I was like, you know what? Let me be submissive to this process. Right. Because I was tired of my relationships not working. Yeah. And kept having failure after failure after failure. And I had gotten to a point to where I dated, all kinds of women. I did a lot of things. It's like I didn't want to live that life anymore. Yeah, for sure. Daughters. My daughters are about to be 10 years
Beautiful
old.
Girls.
So I want to be a better example for them. And so once I found out, I just was shooting in the wrong basket. And I did this 5-week course on what it meant to be a biblical husband, and I found out I was doing it the wrong way. Yeah. And I really found out, like, when you're a man and you meet a woman who's in alignment with being a wife, it don't take that long. That's why these people get married 2 months, 4 months, 5 months. Yeah. Because you have a man who's decided. So I had made the decision that the next phase of my life was going to be husband. And, I joked about it online a lot, like husband prep. I wrote it down on my 2024 goals. Yeah. Weekly husband prep.
Yeah, you were in it heavy.
Heavy. I mean, the amount of audiobooks and the amount of things that I read, and like I don't even like reading books. Yeah. The first book I read was How Husbands Speak to Wives. First book I read. Reread the 5 love languages. Emotional intelligence was another one. Then we did. I sent it to you after I did. Pastor Michael Todd. Yeah. So we did that whole relationship goals thing.
Oh my gosh, so helpful.
It was good, and that's why I sent it to you, because I went through that. I did the book and I did the YouTube series, and at that point, I don't think it takes but a shift. Have a certain set of rules to follow. I understand that I'm supposed to lead. I'm supposed to labor. I'm supposed to be loyal. I'm supposed to love. Yeah. I got the things I'm supposed to do that I can follow. So that's how I know I'm ready, because I'm following direction now versus just like walking around like a headless sheep. Yeah. So, and I think once I made that decision, all of the things started.
Everything changed.
But I got challenged. Yeah. By a lot of things.
For sure. Yeah.
That weren't in alignment with where I said I was going. But I had the word was discernment, like have the proper discernment to put the things aside that aren't serving you, and they're going to just send you right back to where you was, that cycle that I was dating. And not providing no husband value.
You know, it's interesting you say that because sometimes you'll meet someone that is so not like that cycle.
Mhm.
And you will try to convince yourself that, no, that's not right because you're so accustomed to your cycle. So I think that's good that you said that you don't want to repeat that cycle and that you only had the discernment for the things that fit into those, you know, those rules.
Sometimes you just get tired of getting your heart broke, you know,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, you know, for men my age or just men that are around my age, we didn't have like dads, like who taught us how to treat women.
Yeah.
We didn't have, some of us, like even for me, I didn't have a big brother. I was the big brother. I didn't have uncles. My mom had 6 sisters.
Yeah.
You know, and we moved around a lot, and she chose poorly in relationships. So I didn't have a man to show me how to treat a woman. So unfortunately, I had to go through multiple heartbreaks and things not working. But I also, again, I had to care though. Like I could have just been like, another one bites the dust.
Yeah.
And just been right back to it. But I felt like for me, and somebody said something to me, and I don't even know what led me to church. You know, God had my steps ordained. He walked me right into that church house. And I went. I cried. And it was nothing but praise and worship, and I just broke down, started crying at church. And he led me to the right people. And the pastor just told me, you have responsibility to share. You have followers. You have people, not just like an IG thing, but you have people who
people that look up to you and look and listen.
And that's why when I do this question and answers thing, I take it very serious that people are holding on to my words. But he also said, you know, when you have a platform, you have responsibilities to pass down the message. And I think that I'm being used as a guy who can lead men who are just like clueless and make it. I can make relationships cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can make it to where people are like,
because people always think it's boring. I don't want to do that.
They don't want to.
Yeah.
But I was one of those guys who thought that. And I was like, I'm doing everything. I go back and look at some of my old messages between me and my ex-girlfriend. I'm like, damn, I was really like trying to mask like being in another relationship. You know, not that I was ashamed because I loved her, but I masked it because I didn't understand what partnership meant.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand when you get a real good partner, it unlocks a level of you.
Man.
That
I'm like dealing with it. Oh, that's so true. Man, that's so true.
So once I found that out, I'm like, I got to respect the people already, and I like who I am.
Yeah.
So if people judge me, so be it. But I have a responsibility now to uphold a certain standard of you can be cool in the eyes of people and still be about your business like you're supposed to be as a man.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what I want to stand for even more going into 2020.
But with that, you said something. I think the right partner, though, like you have met a compliment.
Right.
And not to say that, you know, your previous relationships were not a compliment, but it complements this now new version of yourself and where you truly want to go, to where you don't have to mask or you don't have to, you know, shift maybe the things that you want to do or how you want to be or how you want to show up or even the relationships you want to cultivate because you have the proper partner to complement those things. Because I think just from, you know, our friendship, I've seen the difference. I've seen that relationship or those relationships that have caused me, I don't want to say a blockage, but almost kind of a barrier to where you can't really cultivate certain friendships,
right.
You know? And I think that now, you know, having the discernment that you have, obviously it led you to where you are. And I think it's a good complement to where you want to go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 50-50 on that only because I don't think that I could have met her. Right. And if I wasn't who I needed to be,
oh, for sure,
I would have blew it.
For sure.
And I'm not going to say that my last relationship wasn't the proper partner, because I do believe if I was who I am today, we would be married. Because I would have probably moved very differently early on in our relationship. But I also believe that certain relationships set you up. So, you know, you're going through things and we kind of have certain feelings about our past.
For sure.
Maybe even things we're going through right now. We have certain feelings about it. But I had to get to a point to where I think I had to be broken in order for me to be rebuilt new.
For sure. Yeah.
And so
for sure. I think that's for both of us.
It's for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't think people are willing to do it though. I
Yeah.
don't think people are willing to be broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do think if you don't have the proper, and you have, parents in your life, and so, I don't know the full relationship. I know you and your dad are really close. But the relationship dynamic that you got a chance to experience, your mom being being a wife. But for me, not having that, I had to be broken in a different kind of
For
way
sure. Yeah.
to understand what's not worth losing. And it sucks that so many women have to be that person. They have to be the lesson. I feel bad almost, but God told us. I don't know how people be in their Bible, and I don't want to get too crazy, but women are supposed to teach men. Women in the book
yes, I know.
In the book of Proverbs, women are wisdom. He refers to women as wisdom. And
but you can almost counter that, because if you talk about a man supposed to lead, a man is also going to lead and be a teacher. Of course. So it does go both ways. I don't think
you learn in a proper environment. You learn how to be a man from your father.
For sure.
You learn how to be soft and sensitive from your mother. A lot of men don't have that. We talked about it a while ago.
Yeah.
A lot of men have to deal with a mother who tried to play both sides. A mother who tried to play mother and father.
Yeah.
Therefore, you don't see that softness. I could never learn from my mom how to treat women because, one, she didn't allow herself to be treated the right way. Like that's order. Order is I'm learning from my mom.
Yeah.
But if I don't get that, and I don't learning how to be a man from my dad, now I gotta go learn it. Woman is gonna teach me, whether it's my mom,
for sure,
or whether
I can agree to that.
Whether it's these relationships that I done messed up.
Yeah.
And I've had my heart broken twice. And with women who I thought that I was gonna be married to.
Yeah.
But coming full circle, I feel like, and our friend Sarah said this. She said, she likes dating older men because she feels like they would have learned their lesson by either having their heart broken or seeing positive relationships in their entire life. And so, all in all, the end game is timing was great because I remember meeting, who I'm dating now. I remember meeting her and she was very apprehensive. She had just got out of a relationship. And, and she had been through a lot with the men in her life, which most women have to.
Yeah, for sure. Right?
But now I'm attacking it from the angle of, I know what to do. I know how to lead this situation. I know the things to say and do and how to be to make you feel safe. And she was shook. She was shook. That's how I knew husband practice or wife practice. That's how I knew it works. Because if you are so in your own mode of I'm husband, you carry yourself as a wife every day in everything that you do. I carry myself as a husband in everything that I do. And she felt that immediately. It had a certain sense of safety.
Yeah.
She felt she used this word that y'all use, the soft. She's like, I never knew what it was like.
To be soft.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Usually I gotta be in control, and usually I gotta do this, and third. Like this is the first time that I've not had to do these things. The women will melt when you do it the right way.
Right.
So that's how I know I'm ready. Because
that's a good question. That's a good answer.
The beginning was different.
I could say I could definitely agree to you because, like I said, seeing you last year to now, all the work that you've done, I can definitely agree to that answer.
Well, tell them a little, since they always hear me talk about.
Look, let me look in the camera for this one. Like the work, the church, the baptism, the readings, the solitude, like a whole 180. It's been really cool to see your growth and just the relationships that you've built and re-nurtured. Like I said, our relationship did not start great. And it's like now, like Steven's like one of my great friends. So it's just, you've really done the work. And it's been cool to see how you have really just taken full accountability to how you were, where you wanted to go. And it's like, you know what? I could do this and I want to do this. So I commend you for that.
That was the scariest thing is judgment, fearing judgment.
Oh my goodness. I went through it too. I get it.
I had people tell me though, like, I almost unfollowed you because it was all. But people don't realize
I remember you said that.
nobody is willing to get in front of that camera
And say it.
Be ugly.
Yeah.
It's like maybe I see it sometimes. People, I hate people who just pick up the camera and start crying.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's not do it for a show.
Yeah.
But how many people are willing to get in front of the world, or people who look up to them, or people who are waiting to hear what you got to say and what you got going on,
right?
And it to be ugly every day. Because it was ugly for me for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I ended up starting a men's group because of it was.
Yeah, your book read, right?
Yeah, book group. They're excited to do more things next year.
Okay.
But the crazy thing is, so many people, and there's probably some women who are waiting, but there were men who are waiting to admit, man, I just kind of messed up, or I wasn't who I needed to be, and I didn't know how to even identify it. Right. And I knew that I had to be bare in front of the world and be judged. Yeah. Because there was some people who had some really choice things to say because they loved who she was, or they loved the things that we even represented.
And the image.
People tell me I'm so disappointed in you. And I'm like, I'm disappointed in myself. But guess what though? I'm admitting it because I want to get better. Right. Now, I'm not trying to prove that I was right in that. I take full accountability for my relationship with my kid's mom. That shit not working. I take accountability for that. I take accountability for my last relationship for it not working. I think that's where it be. I wish that was the word for 2025 instead of demure.
Oh my gosh.
Start saying accountability.
Yeah, accountability.
Because I think
seriously,
it's not, you don't lose. Like people think that you lose, right? When you admit that you're wrong. I think that
it's almost freeing.
It's extremely freeing. It's like you want to learn how to create a new foundation. Admit you're wrong and start over. Yeah,
you inspired me.
But see, that's
if we're keeping it 100%, you inspired me to do it.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell you where I got it from. It's ain't nothing but God, because it was for me. It started. I went live. I don't know if you remember, in January, almost a year.
I remember.
This a year.
Yep.
That was headed to Charlotte. We ain't gonna talk
about about
that trip.
Oh my gosh.
Before that, I went to
that trip.
Yeah, I went to Mexico and I went live. Yeah. Just to kind of, because I knew people were just so because she had done other things and she was public with other people, and it was wait, what the heck is going on here? Yeah. And so going live and just admitting to the world all of these things, I think was freeing not unbeknownst to me, it was more freeing for women. Just like how you're saying it helped you. Yeah. I have more women saying, I think they understood men a little bit more. Yeah. And they understood themselves a little bit more, because I'm not blaming her at all for nothing. I could. And then we've had conversations about some stuff that is not right. But at the end of the day, I'm taking the accountability, for myself. Right. And I think that was so freeing for people, men and women, to see. Yeah. But let's turn the corner on these questions. I don't know how many more corners we got to turn. I do have a question here. Okay. How do you feel about the 50-50 conversation, splitting bills? What do you think about that conversation?
I really don't feel stronger one way or another. I think it really just depends on your household. That's it for me.
That's good, because people go on these ridiculous rants about 50-50, and I don't. For me, I've never dealt with a woman who I've made pay for anything. I've always just paid for the things that I was already used to paying for. Right. I'm splitting rent. I've been paying rent my whole life. That makes sense to me. Yeah. Cell phone bills, all of that stuff that I already do, I do it. But I think it's ridiculous because people. This is the tribute thing for me. Why is it 50-50? Why don't we say 70-30 or. Yeah.
But my thing is the whole, that's where people go, right? The 50-50 conversation. But majority of people no, that's not even the conversation. I'm moving into his house. He's paying our bills. Yeah. But it's even if you don't do 50-50, what are you still going to contribute?
So that's my thing.
That's the conversation, not the 50-50.
And you know what people hear, and what do you bring to the table?
Yeah, that's not it either. Yeah, that's not it.
I want to know what, and this is what I had when I first had somebody move in with me, and it was okay, how does this work?
Yeah.
And it was like just buy groceries, and help clean up around the house. And they proceeded to tell me that with the things that they don't do, and I was like, oh.
But what do you do? Like, let's have that conversation.
Some people are not even intelligent enough to understand that conversation is necessary and it's healthy.
Yeah.
I need to know, first of all, if I'm finna be doing all of this, I'm making your life easier.
Yeah.
How are you going to make my life easier? I think men have to stand, like these women would drain your pockets, or drain you mentally by making you do, or I don't think that either of us should be chasing what each other can get.
Yeah.
It should be about what I can give.
Yeah.
And so inside of that, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I really like this because I'm by default, I know what I can get. Yeah. I can take care of a lot of the things. I can handle 80% of our financial burden, but is the 20%, is that too much for you?
Right.
Or I'm out of line for asking you to do anything?
Right. But I think that's where people get so consumed with this modern day relationship, modern day women, and I'm not going to go into that conversation, but I think just what we consume in today's day, that's why that's the conversation. And then it's like when we try to talk about modern versus traditional, again, whatever you deem is your definition, it's like people take as disrespect. And it's like, it's not. If you are in a partnership and you are working towards, coming together as one, I think it's more of a healthy conversation, personally.
But see, you're mature enough to have that conversation. It's just I think we are in a ugly time right now where people are only thinking about what they can get from a man.
Unfortunately.
And then when I ask the question, and this is why I feel like these type of conversations have to happen. It's like, no, we should be seeking to add what value can I add to a man? And
right.
Like how the things that you share, because those things are important.
Yeah.
But what else is important? What is your ideal man like?
My ideal man.
Yeah, for the people out there who
Man, my ideal man is somebody that really makes me feel safe and protected. I never understood the importance of safety, emotional safety. So that's probably top priority. I think somebody that is fulfilled in whatever they do in their career. They have a passion, they have a purpose, they have a good relationship with their family, they have good examples. Maybe they didn't have, two-parent household growing up, but I think, what does your circle look like now? Like, do you have married friends? Do you have, things that you do and go to learn you wanting to become a husband? I think those are the things that I'm really looking for in somebody. And like I said, I feel like I've met him, but if I haven't, that's...
Oh, wait. You care to elaborate on?
I feel like I have met him, but it's really somebody that makes me feel safe. I've learned from previous relationships, I have learned that there's no amount of money somebody can make to make you feel safe. The peace of mind that you get from somebody that considers you and that makes you feel heard in conversations is a level of safety that you just can't put a price tag on. So that's really what I'm looking for.
Maturity at its finest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so are we thinking that 2025 might be the year that you prioritize
a relationship? Yeah. 2025, I want to really prioritize becoming a next level of a woman to become a girlfriend and then obviously evolve into a wife. I really do want to prioritize my personal life. Obviously, yes, build the business and all of those beautiful things, but there's a dying desire to have my personal life thrive.
Yeah, this is where I was at the end of last year. And I made it a priority to not do too many things that will get me out of alignment with that. I mean, I dated a lot. And when I say dated, you use that term very
right. Yeah.
It's a lot of Lucy's.
Yeah.
A lot of Lucy's in 2024.
Right.
But ultimately, it was because I knew exactly what my person was going to be like when I met them. And for me, I knew that. I used to ask this question to most these married men that I knew. I'm like, man, what's that feeling that you get when you see your wife down the aisle and you just start crying? Like what?
Oh my
Like
gosh.
what? Because I feel like if I was to get engaged to who I was with previously, I didn't think that would happen to me, and I was worried. I was worried that I didn't feel like that. I was worried that that I was going to get to that point, and I feel like I had made the not necessarily the wrong decision, but I did something wrong in the process. And I do feel like when you do find your person, immediately but then like in my mind, I'm already like.
But do you almost try to like convince you that like, no, this isn't my person because it's not in the cycle. It's not what you're used to. It looks so foreign to what you're accustomed to. Do you try to convince yourself? You're like, no, like this is like I trust myself. I trust my gut.
Are you asking now? Like what?
Yeah, like I'm asking you, like how do you do that?
Well, because it just happened to me, so I can answer in a way of there's not a feeling, there's no description that you can put on.
But you didn't try to convince yourself, like, oh no, this isn't it.
I didn't have to.
Oh, okay.
Because I already we have our things that we're looking for.
Yeah.
We have our red flags that we're not going to ignore, regardless of how attracted we are to a person. So
right.
we have the rules and standards already put in place.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do. Now, when you meet somebody who checks off all of your boxes and you have a feeling of excitement when you're around them, and you have a feeling of this feels like this feels like forever, and you can kind of like, you have to find some sort of way to eliminate the cloudiness that you have when it's like, you're trying to make this person your person. And I had to ask hard questions at the beginning. I think that was the part that I knew, because I'm like, okay, I'm physically attracted to this person. Let's ask the hard questions.
So let me ask you.
Yes.
What was one of the hard questions?
It was a lot of questions that I didn't know. Well, one of the questions was for me is, are you done having kids? And for some people, like talking about children, it's like she has 2 daughters already. Yeah, she could be done. But also, like, how do you handle disagreements? And I'm not necessarily looking for an answer, because you can lie.
For sure.
What I'm looking for is posture and demeanor. Yeah. How are you in these times? Like, are you? Do you need to be seen? Do I feel like you're just an attention whore? Do I feel like you have an attitude, like just you're very snappy? How articulate are you? Can you communicate yourself well? I'm asking questions for the things that she's not saying. It's the intangibles. How are you responding? Does it take you a long time to respond? I'm asking you out on. The first thing I did was ask her to go out on a date. Yeah. I was like, let's go to, and we still ain't. I wanted to go to Catch LA. Yeah. But it was like, ended up being like Cava, because it's cold. It just made more sense. Right. It's like, okay, is she willing to meet you at somewhere that was the Cheesecake Factory conversation? Take me to Cheesecake. I'm like, are you willing to meet at somewhere like that? Yeah. Find out how much you really like me, right? Or how much you are attracted to me, or how much you really want to get to know me. So I asked a ton of questions. That's good. How many, like, what's your relationship like with your mom? What's your relationship like with your family? And again, these questions were just so I can see her character. Yeah. I wanted to see how she acted in certain moments, and she was just so shy. And I think her values, I wanted to know the questions about what are you working for? What are you working towards? Yeah. And so people will tell you let them talk enough, you'll learn a lot. They'll tell you exactly what you want to know. Yeah. And I went home and I told my mom, I was like, I'm pretty sure I met your daughter-in-law. I never told my mom that. I love that. And but I was telling everybody like this. Oh yeah. I was like, y'all, it's screaming from the mountaintop. It's a feeling that I can't explain, because I just felt it. I had no questions about it. Yeah. I felt like, was it the ideal situation, the scenario? No, but I don't think it ever will be. But I think that's it right there. Like, what we envision it to be is not what it is. I don't think it ever. Yeah. I think the person and characteristics is probably all you're going to get. Yeah. Like, all the other stuff surrounding. But all the other stuff really doesn't matter. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't matter, because it's like my non-negotiables are met. Yeah. Everything else, like, is it? Oh, that's good. That she has 2 kids already? Maybe not so, but that's semantic. I got 2 daughters. They get along great with her. Yeah. And what are the odds of that? 2 daughters to 2 daughters. That's a lot of girls.
Yeah, you a girl dad for real. We need the sun to come.
I'm talking about that the other day. Like, shoot, if we have another child, if we have a child and it's a
Yeah.
daughter, I'm getting me out of here. I'm done.
That's so funny.
I'll tell you this though. And probably the thing that, as I'm sitting here thinking, the thing that probably made me that she was like where I needed to be.
Yeah.
When I started talking about how I was ready to be a husband and she wasn't scared.
Mm.
She wasn't scared of me because she was also taken back by how sure I was. How sure I was of where I was going. Mm-hmm. But the one thing she mentioned to me, because like just in that conversation, I don't think women are used to men having that conversation.
Not at all.
But she's like, oh, so you think I'm your wife? Because I'm like, I'm only giving people time if I think that they're my wife. And she's like, oh, so you think you're my wife? And I'm like, it's like I'm your wife. And I'm like, you might be, because we wouldn't be talking if I didn't feel like you could be my wife. And conversations like that, she was not put off. She didn't run away. She ran into it.
Yeah.
And it was finding somebody who's ready to be a wife. Because if I find somebody who I'm attracted to, and they're ready to be a wife, that's pretty much all I need. Because if she's following, she's spiritual, she goes to church. Her mom, I just met her mom, right? Her mom asked me, what is your relationship with God? She's like, I only have one question for you.
Oh, I love that.
What is your relationship with God? Because it's important for us. You already know me. I'm like,
right.
You don't say.
Right.
That's a home run for me. People know how I am, and they know I'm doing things that a lot of men are afraid to admit that they're doing or will never do. When it comes to church and spirituality and all of those things, I'm like, I got a Bible in my heart.
Yeah.
And from then on, I already knew that she had been cultivated to be a wife. She just hadn't found a man who was ready to treat her like that. And she hadn't found a man who was ready to be a husband. It's like a gem, a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
And so, that's how, the whole thing just came about and made a whole lot of sense. But that's how I knew. I knew because I met somebody who was moving like a wife.
Right.
That's what happened for you. When you meet someone, you're ready to be a wife.
Yeah.
And you meet your man who's moving like a husband. It ain't gonna take that long.
Right.
I already know. Like, I ain't gonna say too much.
Boy, we gotta hear it. We gotta hear it.
Unless you got questions that you're gonna ask.
I do have questions. Let me pull them up because we want to know from Stephen himself. So I'm actually gonna pivot because I want to know. I want to know, like, when you talk about, just your business, for example, like you've been a president's team member for, let the people know how many years now?
I've been top 1% or Black President's team member for 4 years, almost 5 years now.
Amazing. So, but you do a lot of other things too. Like you are a competition coach. Right. You're a business owner. You own 2 cafes, or your mom just took over Clutch Nutrition, but you now have the House Cafe. Right. And your competition team is thriving. You have so many other avenues of success that are continuing to grow. Do you think that Herbalife is going to be your main and only career choice?
I think it allows me to have many hats. Because I think me growing the business, how I grew it, and I just have to be present. Because I learned something from a lot of good friends, and they're like, don't stop feeding the machine that made you who you are. So I'm always going to be, I'm not going to let it drain me. I'm not going to be, gung ho, super crazy like I was building my business. Yeah. But I do understand that it was a means to something else. It was a means to open up a lot more. It was a means to peace, because all those things that you mentioned that I do, a lot of things that I do, I don't do it for money.
Right. That's true, because you train, and that's like a passion of yours.
I train, but I also do like a lot of things. I don't charge people nearly what I should.
Yeah.
Some people I don't charge at all.
Yeah.
There's so much things that I'm willing to do, and Herbalife allows me to not have to have monetary on the front of my mind when I do the things. And I think that's why things are so successful. Right. I'm not looking to, I gotta make a ton of money and everything. Like I could, and I probably would be really good at it.
But do you think that, like, with all of these new things that have come up over the last year, that will just leave as is, do you think you would ever pivot and go a different route? Out of Herbalife? But say you still stay in network marketing. Maybe you go the digital world. Would you ever transition? Because I feel like that's like the thing now.
Mhm.
It's always like something new. And so it's like you have all of these skill sets, like you are multifaceted. We
Yeah.
talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
Would you?
No.
Why?
I feel like this is the one thing that's allowed me to be like maximize who I am.
Mm,
I wouldn't have a competition team if it wasn't for Herbalife.
that's
I
true.
wouldn't even be a trainer like in the gym. And I think there's no ceiling for what I can accomplish. I have big goals inside of the company that I haven't accomplished yet.
Yeah.
So I don't think if I'm just gonna just plainly answer it as a yes or no, like no. I don't see myself unless the company somehow something happens to it.
Yeah. I get it.
But then I'll easily be able to go into something else. But I don't. It's not even a thought that I have in my mind of ever going anywhere. I want to be I
know you want to go Chairman's Club.
Yes.
I know.
It's not even I want to, like I'm going to.
Yeah.
It's been a goal of mine, creating 5 people who have lives just like me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part that people they forget because it's such a selfish thing to be, a president's team member. Like, how dare I forget about the people who said yes to me for that journey.
Right.
I can at least see it through to I have 5 people, who are where I'm at right now.
Right.
And that's for me. Of course, there's huge monetary gain with that, and my family's life will never be the same if I be a Chairman's Club member.
Yeah, 1,000.
But I think for me, it means more because I have other people. Like all those other things that I'm doing are great. But I don't think that there's that gratification that I can get for having other people have success
as well,
being an Herbalife distributor. So
that's good. Yeah, because I think it's been cool, like seeing you. We're obviously seeing, the team grow, the competition team, Phenom Factory. So it's like when you're in prep, say now it's your turn to compete. You're not coaching, but it's time for you to get on that stage.
Yeah.
We know that you stay in shape majority of the year. I mean, your body fat doesn't go over 3%, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But when you get on stage, all of the shows that you've been at, you've always looked phenomenal. But do you feel like your athleticism gets overlooked on that stage?
To a degree, yes. I believe that in the division that we compete in, they don't like guys like myself.
But you fit the category, no?
If I did, I would have some show wins, wouldn't I? I don't have a single pro show win, which is crazy.
That's wild.
I do really well at the National Olympia, but then local shows, they just don't. It just But I'm also I don't think that I play the political game like a lot of people do as well, which I don't necessarily care about.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also feel like if I'm being completely honest, I don't think that I've given myself the best shot.
I would say that too, because you coach so many people at one time, and then you also try to coach yourself for the same shows, and it just blows my mind. I don't know how you do it.
And it's not because I don't want to have a coach.
You definitely have tried.
That give me trust issues.
Yep.
But, I do think though I haven't made any decisions for 2025, but the next time that I do it, I want it to be me giving the absolute 100% best effort that I can give.
Yeah.
Myself.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years competing? Not only yourself, but your team.
Competing wise, I can't say that I'm gonna be competing much longer. I think I've been really good at coaching, and I think I want to.
So you're gonna pivot.
I want to expound on that. I mean, is it a pivot though? Because I mean, I kind of almost didn't compete this year. It kind of was almost coaching this year.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it though.
Yeah.
When I step away from it, I miss it. I miss prep. I miss discipline. I miss going to, having purpose every day. I miss it.
Yeah.
But in the next 5 years, I feel like I do feel like I can be world champion though. I do feel like I have.
Yeah, I think you need to continue to go after it. You already know, I always say, when you say you're not doing a show, you're not competing. We are not in support of that at all.
Yeah, I get it, man. But I do feel like if I do decide, because 40 is around the corner though, so it's I don't know how long I want to put my body through that.
Yeah,
I'm about to change my mind every year.
So what does 2025 look like though? Are you going to compete?
2025?
Yeah.
I did say I wasn't competing in 2025.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the truth.
Got it. Got it. Okay. I know that feeling.
As of right now, I ain't getting ready for no shows. But
yeah. So do you only coach natural athletes, or have you coached?
No, I only coach natural athletes. Yeah.
Why is natural your focus, and why do you think that it has, I mean, it's subjective, so I'll leave it there.
To be honest, I think for me, staying natural and only coaching natural athletes is because I feel like it's never that serious to put my life in danger.
Yeah.
Taking anabolics, and I don't want to have that on my conscience with anybody who's gone down that path and they have health issues. I think it's like life is bigger than bodybuilding. It's never that serious for me. It was never that serious for me. I want people to maximize their health without having to put their health in jeopardy. It's kind of counterproductive to be a bodybuilder and your life is in jeopardy because you're not taking care of your health. So I can't say that I've never had a thought. I've had a thought about what I would look like if I decided to be a not natural athlete. And I think I have like the genetics to be like a freak, but it's not worth it for me.
Yeah, for sure.
My mood,
but you look phenomenal already. I don't think you need.
People think I'll be on already. So, but it's 11 years of bodybuilding that got me to that point. So, no, I mean, I've always just chosen the natural route because I feel like it's the more ethically responsible route.
Yeah. No, that's good. I could definitely see that. But no, I mean, I think everything that you're doing, and just like I said, the growth in your business, the growth in you personally, it's just been awesome to see.
Like, we're trying to do some things, man. Yeah. We about an hour 20 minutes in.
Oh shit, are we really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, I just have one question for you to end, because who knows, stuff probably gonna start dying soon. Who knows? Microphones. But what are your plans with life and business in 2025?
Life and business in 2025.
Right.
Business, I'm going to continue to build this beautiful studio, Energy Cycling. That is something near and dear to my heart. That's my focus for business. Personally, I'm going to continue to dive into becoming a girlfriend to become a wife. And it's so funny because I have changed every password to becoming a wife, $25 sign.
Are you afraid to say just becoming a wife? Do you feel like you have to have the step of being a
I do. I feel like there's a progression, no?
I don't.
Really?
You know, there's no such thing as boyfriends and girlfriends in the Bible.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like from the time that women were like identified as women and men became man. It's you're a husband.
I think then that's an unlearning that I need to do.
I did the same thing.
Yeah,
it's funny because when we had our first time where our kids were together, I said, I don't like the boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. 2025, yes, is about becoming a wife. Like I said, I have changed every single password on my computer, becoming a wife, $25 sign. Like, so if anybody hacks my stuff, that's my password. But I have to see it every single day. So that's my focus: build this business and really work on the things I know I need to work on and become a wife. That's what I want to do. It's like, I'm ready for that the next chapter in my life. And it's, people always say, build the businesses, build the successes. Yeah, it's great, but I really want to experience life and call somebody when I have good news. And,
it happened to me today.
I mean,
not good news, but when something is like an issue and somebody wants an opinion and your partner call you like, hey, this happened. What do you think? Like,
you get to act, like that makes exactly. That's what I want. Yeah, that's what I really want to do in 2025. So that's why 2025 is about doing less, being softer. I have made some major life changes to be able to lead less and follow more. And it was a hard decision, but it was necessary because it's like you said earlier, I don't want to keep repeating cycles.
Absolutely. Any questions for me before we done? Are we all good?
Man, I think we got it all.
We're all good.
We are all good.
So thank you for being. I don't know if this is gonna be end of the year because we got a little bit of editing to do.
Yeah.
Or if this is gonna be something that we kick off at the top of the year.
Yeah.
But I think it's great. It's almost like the closing of a chapter going into another chapter.
I think for both of us.
Absolutely.
Like, it feels so different.
This would have been really different if we would have done this 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or 2 months ago, or when we originally planned on doing it. It probably would have been way different. I think the timing was perfect. It was impeccable.
Yeah.
Because both of us are at a very different point For me, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I'm not leaving 2025. Probably not.
That's probably my last question. What's 2025 going to look like for you personally?
Personally,
Yeah.
yeah,
We already know what the business is going to be.
yeah, the business is gonna be the same because that's just what I do. But personally, I promise you, I'm probably not gonna make it out the year without being engaged for sure. Um,
I'm
but
so
it's something that
excited for
I'm
this.
almost like I just know that she's one way to marry already, and I told her that we went ring shopping already, so I can get an
Beautiful.
idea of what she
Hmm.
likes, and now it's just being in different situations, learning her character, learning how she acts in certain situations. We've been around her family, we've been around people she's comfortable with.
Yeah.
That those are things that are important, and everything is all good. So. I think I'm gonna do a little bit more family traveling next year for sure.
Okay.
But I think next year is about cultivating the relationships that I built in 2024, and that's probably my main focus. So yeah,
I love it.
that's where we're gonna be
I'm
at.
excited for you.
Yeah, it's going down. All right, so
Excited.
look, thank you for being my guest here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Some questions you
That's fun.
want to answer.
Yeah, I know. That was,
What it is,
man, nothing too crazy.
nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Right, we didn't want to get too personal. It's been another episode of the Way Too Clutch podcast. I'm your host, Steven. You guys have a safe, happy end of the year if you're watching this in 2024, if you're watching this in 2025. I'm wishing nothing but peace and prosperity over you this year. Stay in tune with yourself, stay in tune with your star player, and always think about what you can give back to the world. Peace.
Bye, guys.